Time for the unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Featuring site publishers Carey Murdoch and Josh McCuistion, along with videographer Eddie Radosevich. It's the unofficial 40 on Soonerscoop.com.
All right, welcome back. It is another edition of the unofficial 40. Carey Murdoch, along with Josh McCuistion, Eddie Radosevich, and Bob Przybylo, as Big 12 Media Days is just right around the corner, as we will be down, the whole crew, well, Josh won't be. He'll still be chasing kids around. But we'll be down in Frisco, Eddie, Bob, and I. I was saying this today, guys, and OU introduced that they're going to have their Fan Appreciation Day on July 22nd, which is the earliest they've ever had it. So literally a week after, is it less than a week? No, a week. Yeah, less than a week.
Less.
After we have a Big 12
6
Media
days.
Day. Yeah. I don't know what you're doing, Josh, but you're ruining the podcast right now. 6 days after we go to Media Days, I decided that I am ready for this just to be a complete shit show. Like, I hope, like, Eddie and I got contacted by these dudes named the Seminole Buds, who are just random guys who big listeners of the Sports Animal in the Morning Show, and I've met them. They're really good dudes, and they're like, I don't know what they do though, but they said, hey, we're covering our first Big 12 Media Days, and Eddie and I were giving them kind of silly things that they should do.
No, I was being serious. Don't go. Like, take the days off work, go hang out in Uptown, get away from your wives. I mean, let's be honest, no one's going to read what you're writing anyways. I'm sure you're good guys, but
yeah, you need to have more than maybe, I don't know how many Twitter followers they have, but
I'm serious. Go take a vacation, a little mancation.
But no, I want them to go, and I want them to just turn it into just a circus. Because I think the Big 12 could use a circus. Like, the SEC thing is kind of a circus because of all the mouth breathers that are down there in the lobby waiting on Nick Saban so they can touch him and, sign their baby or whatever. But I think the Big 12 could use a little bit more of that. And I'm willing to hire a barbershop quartet to ask a question to Bob Bowlsby at his conference address. And the question will be about technology. I don't think
take over and start asking about esports.
I think that we need to battle the mariachi bands with barbershop quartets, being that we're in Texas.
Aren't the only thing that they have in Texas mariachi bands?
Yes, and I despise them.
You know how you could defend them?
Don't say call ICE.
No, I was going to say build a wall, but.
Josh McCuistion, do you have any thoughts on the subject? Have you ever been in a mariachi band or a barbershop quartet?
I haven't been in a mariachi band. It's one of those things that's been missing in my life. But I am with you. Is there anybody ever that's liked the "It's your birthday, we're going to have a mariachi band play at your table"? Everybody hates that. Why?
They ruined the Riverwalk in San Antonio for me.
Oh.
All I want to do is eat my, moderately decent Mexican food
that we go to.
Oh, the one place, La Fogata?
La Fogata, yeah.
But the people in San Antonio will yell at us and say, "It's tourist trap."
It's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. There's no El Tiempo, but it's good.
We went there when I was, getting deathly ill, and you guys really enjoyed it, and I thought it was still good. I'd go back.
It's hard to beat some good Tex-Mex.
Tiffany and I have returned a couple of times since for various San Antonio trips. La Fogata's good stuff.
Eddie, if you could disrupt Big 12 Media Days with a question of Bob Bowlsby, what would it be? That wouldn't get you thrown out.
That wouldn't get me. It'd probably be something about second guessing him when I thought that the league was dead, and now it looks like maybe ask him if he's going to pay for Larry Scott's funeral or something. Do you feel responsible for paying for Larry Scott's funeral?
That'd be pretty good.
A jab at the Pac-12, maybe. Because that'd be not only would that be pro Big 12, but I think he would like that. I think he would enjoy it.
Actually, is the Big 12 only being saved now because they were smart enough to know that they were too late to the network party and didn't even attempt it? Because the Pac-12 is that classic case of they were too late to the party. The Big Ten was the one with all the foresight.
I couldn't have been more wrong about, like, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I was 100% on the OU needs to join the Pac-12. That might have just been a personal thing because I wanted to go out to Scottsdale, wanted to go out to L.A., wanted to go to Seattle. But I also think, though, the
site
Pac-12
would have gone bankrupt.
Yeah, that's probably true. Nobody cares about it out there. Just nobody cares about
I've been saying that
Pac-12
forever.
sports.
Well, Josh, we've known that forever just because at Rivals, we've known like who has the bigger sites, and other than USC, I was sitting with the Oregon publisher in Atlanta, and we were talking, and that wasn't even a full-time job for him doing the Oregon website. I mean, Oregon. Like, you can't even have a full-time job doing Oregon's website.
Well, just look at
not enough people.
It's on a small scale, but just look at what Oregon's paying their softball coach compared to what Texas.
What did Lombardi get?
I don't know what she's making, but when Texas hired the softball coach away from Oregon, they literally doubled his salary.
Oh yeah,
it's like $400,000 something. I mean, Gasso makes just under $1 million here, or over $1 million.
Yeah, right there. She's right there.
It's night and day difference about sports and just the general caring for college athletics.
But Josh, we've known that for a while, that there's, other than USC, there is not really a passionate fan base out in the West Coast.
No, and USC is so out of place with where USC is in the football world. Like, even like, I know fans would think, oh, that's a big site. I mean, it's big, but it's not anywhere in place with USC's historical place in college football. So it's just crazy. I was talking to somebody, the one that blows me away always is Washington. And I guess maybe because when I grew up was right when Washington was great. You know, the Steve Ettman, that whole kind of early 90s run where Washington was one of the national powers. And so maybe I think of them a little bigger than they are. But even if you forget about that, it's in Seattle, one of the biggest cities in the country. It's got a beautiful campus, all these things that you would think would create some real fandom, and that site is almost non-existent.
Their stadium is awesome.
Or, I mean, Washington, right on the lake.
Yep, that's unbelievable. Seattle's one of my favorite places.
You feel like you're in a World War II bomber up in their press box because it's all like pop rivets and metal. It's like a real life. What are those things that you build? Erector set. It's like real life. It's like an erector set. Their press box.
Never been up there.
It's really weird. Were you not up there at the game in 07? Or was it 08?
I just assume Eddie never goes to the press box.
No, but I mean, you didn't go to Seattle with
No,
us?
I wasn't. Well, I was still in school, but I didn't go up there.
Oh, okay.
That was
I just thought you'd been working for us back then.
No, I was still in school.
That's you, Eddie. You feel like you've been around forever.
Sophomore. I was a freshman. No, sophomore.
You would have been a sophomore. That was Sam's
sophomore.
redshirt freshman year.
Yeah, I would have been a sophomore at OU.
And they kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah, that was...
And I remember in the post-game press conference thinking, because they did it all in one place, and some reason I think I was like in the wrong place or something, and Tyrone Willingham's press conference was starting, and I just remember staring at him going, man, you're going to get fired.
It was Tyrone Willingham?
Yeah, he was the coach.
He was the head coach?
Washington.
Wow.
He got knocked from Notre Dame and then went to Washington.
Has there ever been a guy that had a more precipitous fall? I mean, he was at Notre Dame, like he was going to be the savior after all his time at Stanford and all that thing. And now, I mean, I don't even know. I don't think he's even around college football anymore.
Did he get replaced by Weiss? Was that the timeline there? Charlie Weiss?
At Notre Dame?
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. The last time I heard of Tyrone Willingham, he was on the college football playoff committee, wasn't he?
You might be right.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. You're right. Let me see if he still is.
He's one of the only people that you didn't have to wake up after 8 o'clock. Hey, the games are still on. You might want to watch this. Oh, don't worry about it. We'll just put Alabama up 1.
He's like, no wonder nobody ever voted for us out west. I ain't staying up for this shit.
I mean,
his career record 76-88-1.
76-88-1. Shit,
literally under 500.
It's better than Charlie Weiss did, I bet.
Did he leave Stanford to go to Notre Dame?
Willingham?
Yeah.
I believe that's right.
Sounds right.
Let me look. Stanford from 95 to 01, took over Notre Dame 02, 03, 04, and then immediately went to Washington.
It's like if we're a rock station, we're playing deep cuts from Led Zeppelin right now.
That's fine. Let's get it out.
I will say, though, Tyrone Willingham never killed a videographer. Can say that.
Who did?
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly.
Oh, yeah, he did, yeah. Well, I don't know if he was an ographer. He was just a video guy.
Yeah, video guy that got sent up in a scissor lift.
He wasn't up there. He wasn't up
winds.
there like with an Alexa or anything, or a what are those? Alexa's the stupid. I think it is Alexa.
Like a video editor?
No, that's like a big, cinema camera.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like the
He was a
high-rise
cinematographer. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just video dude. Although I will say this, what's OU's video coordinator, Brian Davis?
No,
Brian something.
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Boy, he's making a lot of money. I saw he was on the Regents thing.
He's like 90, right? Is
I
that
think
right?
he was making six figures.
Really? It's incredible.
Why can't I remember his name? Anyway. Josh, are you like eating Halloween candy or something today? Like, I just want. What are you doing?
I am. That is crazy that you can hear that. I keep trying. Like, I mute myself and then I'll try to have a bite of something. I'm literally just sitting here. I just got back from the gym, so I'm like having a snack right as I sit here. But I can totally hold off. It's unbelievable because it does not sound that loud where I'm sitting. But I guess it's just this mic. It's that good, I suppose.
All those gains you made, you're giving them right back. Eating candy.
Well, I mean, they are blueberries. I mean, I'm not going that crazy, but doing what you can do.
Fair enough.
So yeah, Big 12 Media Days. What do you? I mean,
it's a weird Big 12 Media Days just in that there's no quarterbacks coming. Kansas State's bringing two of them. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State aren't taking quarterbacks. Texas is not taking their quarterback.
and day 2 is more interesting.
Yeah, Texas and Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
OU. I don't even know. It's OU and Kansas. I know that on Monday.
I was just thinking that I wish
And
the
Baylor, maybe? Is that right?
I wish the Big 12 was such a train wreck that Bill Snyder would just be like, "Okay, I'm done with this. I'm too old to be in this business anymore."
Kansas State fans probably
I'm just
cheer
gonna
their program.
I'm just gonna send a
that
hologram
day.
from now on. That'd be cool if there was hologram Bill Snyder.
Probably be more interesting than the real Bill Snyder.
He's done the Big 12 media days on screen before.
Has he?
Like he
what?
videoed in. Yeah, it was in
What?
Kansas City a long time ago. Like
He
so the
videoed
coaches,
in from Kansas to Kansas City. He couldn't
Yeah,
make the drive from
right,
Manhattan,
Right. I don't know
Or the flight.
if
the
it was a
15-minute
health thing
flight.
or what it was. But yeah, there was a year when Bill Snyder did not personally attend Big 12 Media Days, but he came in via satellite.
It's funny.
You're looking at Monday, TCU, Kansas, Texas Tech, Iowa State, OU, West Virginia, Texas, Baylor, K-State, OSU on Tuesday.
Holgo's a good media day
Holgerson's
guy,
good.
too. And Gary Patterson's surprisingly good on media days.
Too bad Art Briles isn't around so he could take some shots at him.
Well, they tried. You remember, it's the famous line, Baylor's not my problem, TCU's my problem.
Yeah. Was that a Big 12 Media Day?
Yeah, that was the year after Art Briles got...
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Well, I imagine this year
was Ginny
there will be a
Carlson
lot of writers, particularly from Texas, that try and get Lincoln to say something about the SEC. I'm sure that will be the number one thing.
He's
and then
going to
replacing
get
Baker.
And he's going to get a lot of, Texas stuff like, you think Texas can turn it around? Or
Who's going to be the person that asks him, well, how are you going to handle Kyler Murray? He just signed a contract playing baseball.
Oh my God!
Somebody's going to ask him that.
The worst thing
Somebody
ever.
from a small
Some
town newspaper.
local
It'll
paper,
probably be
yes.
from an Allen paper.
The worst thing ever that we've ever experienced along those lines were, you remember in spring, it was the SAE thing
Yeah.
that happened.
Okay.
That happened in the spring.
Yes.
Yeah. It was like in March,
All
wasn't it?
the way
Or April?
to when OU played Clemson in the college football playoff, there were still not one, not just like a ran. There were still multiple people that were doing
Yep.
that
Those
story.
stories.
That was literally 9 months after it happened. Like, because it's like, dude, I know you're national media, but like, if your company can't afford to fly you in within 9 months of something happening, why are you wasting everyone's time?
It's like Rob Cassidy's tweet I saw this morning about
I saw that.
the 15 different ways you can write stories about NCAA being taken off the market.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ed O'Bannon.
Yeah, that was great. Everybody's already burned through those $1,000 checks that they got.
Yeah. Or wasn't some people getting like $1.50?
Yeah. Because they did it based on how central a part you were of the game. I don't even know what the formula they used.
Frame some of those.
I guess if you started a certain amount of games, you got so much.
Am I the last one that didn't understand that this was not about EA not wanting to pay the athletes? I had missed that somewhere.
Like what? Like what do you mean?
Somebody had tweeted something this week that was like, it's time for, because this was the 5-year anniversary or whatever, and somebody was like, this is your annual reminder that it was not because of EA that the game is no longer going on, because they were happy to pay the players. Yeah. But the NCAA didn't want something that would infringe upon their stance that these guys are amateurs.
Yeah.
God, NCAA is the worst. Bunch of cucks.
Just madness. I mean, like, you're hurting something that builds excitement towards your football season. I used to live for that day when that game came out. I love that.
Yeah. Get the rosters and be able to download them.
I did. That game was a passion for me, Carey. I'm still hurt. I'm not okay. I'm shook up.
I loved it, but I would have grown out of it by now. But if I were in college, I think I stopped at PS3.
I stopped at Bill Walsh's college football.
Oh my god!
See, you missed out.
On Sega. I love that game.
You missed out.
What did you replace it with? That's what I want to know, Bob.
I'm just so bad at those games.
What do you do with your free time?
That's a good question.
When I was younger, I would play tennis and golf games.
Right now, Bob. Like when you just want to chill and relax, what do you do? Because I know you're not a good golfer.
Oh, I'm a terrible golfer.
What's your fetish? Let's hear it.
We
we
see a lot of movies.
You're a big movie guy.
Yes, we see a lot of movies.
Before your wife, were you a big movie person?
No, because I wouldn't go by myself.
Well, that's a good subtopic here. Who here is comfortable going to the movie by themselves?
Oh, I totally am.
I am when I'm on the road and I'm trying to kill time.
Yep. Those are always good. And they always seem like they're the best movies, I guess, because I feel like I don't have anywhere to be. Like I'm not stressed out about, I got to get home and, do whatever. Like I don't have anything to do right now.
As I've gotten older, I will make trips down to Dallas just to go to movies with my parents. Just because they like movies and they won't go unless someone holds their hand and takes them.
I've said it before. You are a wildly better son than I am. Like wildly. Like, it's all I can do to get a call into my parents once a month.
I think the last movie that I saw was Avatar.
That doesn't surprise me.
In theater.
I'm not surprised.
Wow.
I kind of expected you to tell me you waited till it came out on DVD, Eddie.
No, I had to go see it in the... didn't you have to have special glasses to see it?
Yes.
Yeah, I went and
3D
saw
glasses.
Well, if you watch it in 3D. Was it only released in 3D at first?
I have no idea. I'm seriously, I think that's
2009?
The only movie
It's been a long time since I was in a movie theater.
The only movie I've ever seen in 3D is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And that opening scene is fantastic in 3D.
Oh, I see a lot in 3D. I like 3D.
The thing I don't like about 3D is the glasses are always scratched up. And they put them in the stupid package so you can't try them on and see if you got a big scratch right in front of your right eyeball. It's and the kids that work there, they don't take care of that stuff. They're just throwing that stuff around.
I didn't care back when I used to work at the theater.
So that worries me, Bob, that you don't have a lot of hobbies. Because I'm afraid you have hobbies that you're afraid of talking about.
Deep, dark secrets, Bob.
No.
Either porn or, murder or something.
I'm really boring.
Oh, a little homicidal porn?
Yeah, a little murder porn. I had a buddy that worked at the...
Not dead people. I'm talking about homicidal porn with a side of homicide.
Death?
Yeah, something like that.
Was Faces to Death real?
I have no idea. What is that?
I've had this discussion with people. I can't stop myself. There was this series of videos of people being killed.
Oh yeah, I don't. Anytime like those videos come out, or like when like the ISIS videos were like,
I won't watch
being
a dude
circulated.
Get his head chopped off. I thought maybe I could handle it one time.
And
as soon as as soon as the saw hit flesh, I was out.
I'm done. I can't do that. That's too much. That's too much even for me.
Although there are things like like Gordon Hayward injuries type stuff. Like,
that's okay.
And when Paul George got I can't when they're like, we're not going to show it to you. I want to see it.
I'll watch it once.
The Ware kid, Louisville.
Was that was bad in the Final Four.
Yes,
that was really bad.
That was terrible. But I wanted to see it.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it one time.
I still think Willis McGahee is the nastiest one I ever saw.
Because it was in slow motion.
Yes.
If they hadn't shown it to you in slow motion, you wouldn't have realized how bad it and how many ligaments were just shredded in his knee.
I still swear you could hear that happening. Like you could hear his knee just falling apart. Like even just watching the video.
I remember as a little kid seeing Joe Theismann getting his leg broken on, I think it was Monday night. I was over at my grandma's house, and it happened, and it started a national firestorm of controversy because they showed the replay, but then they were like, we're never going to show this again, and they didn't during that game. But it started this groundswell of controversy on should they have shown it for me because there weren't DVRs then.
Yeah, people would have freaked out if Twitter was around back then.
Oh my God,
that's one of there are so many drawbacks of Twitter, obviously, but being able to see something immediately after it happens of a sporting event, that's a major plus, I would say.
Although you don't do that if you're credentialed to go to the game, which I always find that's the biggest.
Yeah, that's weird. That's always weird. That's weird.
It's like when you remember when Clippy or Clip It came out.
Yeah.
Like we were like, oh, we're going to use this and do
awesome.
stuff at games, because there's when Bleacher Report doesn't really do that stuff anymore. I think they've probably got threatened to be sued by too many people.
Yeah.
Because they're just a big company.
FIFA's that way. You haven't seen any highlights from soccer, any of the soccer games.
Olympics are that way.
Yeah. Olympics are like Nazis about it.
But, all these other fan sites and stuff were putting all these clips up, and it was pissing me off. I was like, we should be able to do that on our social media account. So I set up my laptop at a game. I was like, oh, when a touchdown happens, we're going to put up this Clip It thing. And so I did 2 or 3. And then Mike Houck, the sports information director, is literally running to me in the press box get out of the way, get out of the way. And he gets to me, he goes, you cannot post those on your Twitter account. I'm like, oh, okay, so, okay. Well, and it's just okay, I'm not going to start a fight over this. I mean, it's stupid.
My thing with
but it was people are at home doing it, but I can't do it because I'm here.
That's always been my thing with that kind of stuff is so Joe can do it down the street.
Yeah.
But I can't because I'm sitting in the press box.
Yeah.
So I might as well
control you.
You might as well just sit at home.
See, as much as people do this crap about,
and then
you're worried
an Uber
about
to the press box after the game.
People are like, you're going to lose your credentials if you ask any tough questions. No, but there are certain things to having credentials that are a drawback, and that would be one of them. I mean, you can't run with substantiated rumors. You can't, that are not. Boy, that was the biggest word. I've been doing a lot of radio.
I could have said it.
You didn't.
You should have left it to Eddie. Yeah.
Unsubstantiated.
Unsubstantiated.
Unsubstantiated. Unsubstantiated.
I think Eddie was drinking before he got here.
No, I was at the doctor. I could barely see. I literally risked my life to get here because I can't see anything. I got my eyes dilated.
Wow.
Okay.
So I wore
that's why you were wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were just hungover.
No, I'm really good at the eye doctor. I killed the chart.
Have you figured out your cutoff time for drinking yet?
As far as what?
As far as not affecting you the next day?
Oh, no. There is no cutoff time because I don't drink if I know that I need to get up at 4:45. Just can't do it. It won't happen.
So, Eddie, you're down to drinking basically twice a week?
Yeah, Friday and Saturday. Tell you what, though. Walking out at Friday, it feels good knowing that I don't have to get up again.
No, Fridays and Saturdays are cool, except when football season gets here, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I could see myself not doing well during football season.
Eddie's going to want to do Saturday pods just to do as many drunken pods as humanly possible.
Eddie,
maybe.
I just want to point out that Eddie just said that in front of his two bosses.
What?
That you're not going to do well during the season.
Let's just be honest. Not going to be a lot of sleep. I need to get a, yeah.
How's your alarm situation? Just
right here.
the phone?
Just the phone. And
because I go phone and iPad.
Really?
And I put the iPad far across the room.
I don't know about you, but it's like these first couple months have been like going to bed, and then it's like, all right, I need to make sure I set my alarm. AM, got it.
Has there been any days when you forgot to set your alarm?
No. But I'm just like, that's my number one fear.
What's the
Do you not just set it Monday through Friday, like it just automatically in your phone, so you don't have to mess with it?
No, I don't like doing that just because
I'm the same way. I don't.
I like setting it each night. It's like
it's too much
wind down
session.
session.
Yeah, it's like, measure twice, cut once. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, little OCD from both of you.
Yeah,
okay.
it is. It definitely is.
What's the latest you've gotten to work?
Like not very late.
Have you ever been late for a show?
No. I mean 5:15.
I do it all the time.
5:20. But I also live. I don't live too far, so we'll see. When I move here in the upcoming weeks, it'll be interesting.
As a guy who's met Eddie for a lot of early mornings, just travel all around, frankly, the area, you wouldn't expect it from his lifestyle, but he's a fairly punctual person.
He is, and he and Bob left
if I'm
early.
I'm up.
What did you and Bob leave really early for one time?
It was for
was it Rivals
Camp down in Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you left at like 4 or something, right?
Yeah, that was early.
Yes.
But yeah, that's one thing about Eddie that I've always noticed.
If I can get some coffee, I'm good.
Now, if you throw in a hospitality room, all bets are off.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be your biggest challenge. If you're doing radio and go to a major bowl game and there's a hospitality room, you're screwed.
I just need to set it up where I can get that week off. Like I was even thinking about Sunday night. Like Sunday night is usually not a heavy drinking night, but people will have beers when everybody gets down to Dallas. Meet in I guess it's different this year because we used to always meet in the Omni,
right?
In that bar,
it's a little
bit different. But
Josh, the way to describe Eddie is not like, for a guy like Eddie, he's really good getting up early. The way to describe Eddie is, for a guy that puked in his boss's car because he was hungover the first time he ever covered a major bowl trip, his boss's brand new car. It's a miracle you still work.
It was
here.
a good story, though. It was a great story. That was. I will say right now that's a top 3 hangover. That might be
it was the Fiesta
one.
Bowl hospitality room. It's probably the best hospitality room in the business.
I seriously think we drank like 2 bottles of tequila that night.
Of course, the Fiesta Bowl committee at the time was about as corrupt an organization as you could possibly
John
be.
Junker didn't even take me to the strip club. It's kind of BS if you ask me.
But to be fair, I mean, that's where those bottles came from. They just fell off the back of a truck somewhere. So,
That is true.
Yeah. It's probably like a Roadhouse situation.
Where are the playoffs this year? Fiesta Bowl back in the...
I think it's Atlanta. No, it was Atlanta last year.
The championship's in San Fran. I know that.
It's like Jacksonville or something stupid like Tampa or... It might be
the
Tampa.
semifinal?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, I guess
because there's some non-BCS destinations that are in
San
the rotation.
Francisco's the championship game, right?
Is it? I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
How the hell did San Francisco get that?
Because Levi Stadium and nobody goes to 49ers games, so they want to justify it.
Nobody goes to any games. I think we've established that.
The semifinals are at the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl.
Oh, Cup.
And then Bay Area, Monday, January 7th.
So this is back to the rotation when Oklahoma went first.
2019
because Alabama went to the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, because Alabama beat the piss out of Michigan
and
State.
OU and Clemson played at the Orange Bowl.
Interesting.
Yeah, we had a discussion about the OU Barstool thing, about the fan bases today. The worst fan bases? Which I'm not taking a shot at OU Barstool here, but it is not a fair fight. I mean, it would need to be more like, Big 12 voters, or from the Big 12, from the SEC. Because the thing is, like, Texas and Oklahoma State to me are not the worst fan bases. Like, not even like there's hatred between each other, but like you don't see deplorable behavior by Oklahoma State fans in Stillwater towards OU fans, or by Texas fans to OU, or vice versa at the Cotton Bowl. You playing Eminem, Josh?
Good Lord, can you hear that too?
Yes. Yeah. That's coming in really clear.
Hey!
What do you think that you're doing right now?
We need your undivided attention.
No.
Podcasting, Josh!
I didn't know there was going to be any music with what I was playing. Jamal Morris put out like a workout video with his trainer, and I was like, what is this? And all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, that's loud. But I didn't, it's just going through my headphones. I didn't think there was it. Damn it. Oh, well, bringing this to a crashing halt. Sorry about that, fellas.
But no, like A&M fans, they're bizarre and weird, and they deserve to be ranked number one. LSU fans, for OU fans, if you're not ranking them in the top 4 seed, if you're not seeding them in the a 1 seed, or
just
on the
strictly
1 seed
off
line,
of 2004.
Yeah, I mean that just means you didn't go to the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, I have heard, like, anytime that gets brought up, it's like, oh, let me tell you about the LSU.
It was awful. I mean,
were they just like spitting on people? I mean, or just
no? I was telling the story. Like, the story I tell is there was like an OU alumni thing on Bourbon Street,
kind of where they do the Sugar Bowl like press party or whatever.
Yeah,
media party.
I think it might be in one. It might have been in one of those same places.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just this bar you went to. You went upstairs and they had like gumbo and drinks and stuff. And so I was meeting some friends over there, and like literally, I maybe own 4 pieces of clothing that are red, and I was wearing like a green shirt, jeans. Like, you couldn't tell I was a football fan at all. And on the way there, I just heard a lot of people just screaming out windows. Anybody that walked by, Tiger bait! And so, but then on the way back, after everybody had been drinking for a while, like literally, LSU fans would jump out in front of you and just scream, Tiger bait! Like, and they couldn't even tell, like, it was not like I was an OU fan or anything, but like they thought anyone that wasn't them
if you weren't wearing purple, you were gone.
And it wasn't just one time. I mean, it just you couldn't go 10 feet without that happening. And I was just like, these people are insane. And maybe those people didn't have tickets because they're LSU and they're in New Orleans and they're just partying. But
I think
they were the most annoying fan base I've ever dealt with.
I'm trying to think if I've ever had like any just downright bad experiences at a away game, like being down on the field.
I don't. Yeah. Boring.
I will say this: Nebraska fans are terrible people.
Are they?
I mean, everybody's always like, "Oh, Nebraska's the greatest fans in the college football."
Yeah.
I don't think anybody says that anymore because nobody cares about Nebraska. But it used to be, "Oh, they're the classiest fans." Like OU fans would be like, "That's the classiest fan." But I remember when OU went there, and it was Adrian Peterson's first game back, and Joke Onyengecha like intercepted the pass for like almost a touchdown that game. But like after it was over, I was walking behind the team back to the locker room. And people were cussing them up and down and screaming and yelling and, calling them cheaters and, all kinds. But I was like, man, these Nebraska people are not nice. This is not what I've always been told.
They supported a renegade program for 25 years under Tom
steroids.
Osborne. I mean, you can't tell me that, what's his name? Lawrence Phillips didn't kill somebody and Tom Osborne covered up.
While he was in Lincoln.
Well, and then he had the Christian Peter thing. Let him back on the team.
What did he did something?
I think he almost killed his girlfriend.
Did he?
Just beating her.
Well, Sean McCoy probably went to Nebraska.
He went to Pitt. I don't know if he obviously didn't do anything, but it was a murder for hire kind of thing. Although he didn't say murder, just said rob and hit.
If you're going to do that, this is off the record, but if you're going to do that, might have been a good plan. I mean, if you're going to be a criminal like that.
Oh. By the way, did you read the Parrish Cobb thing?
Yeah, I did.
In the Dallas Morning News?
I did. That was, as much as I like to joke about Waco being not as hard as people think. That was kind of sad.
His family has kept his room just like it was before he left for Norman.
You know what I first thought of when I read that?
No.
Little footballs. Ace Ventura. When she takes him up to the room, she's like,
"Oh,
there's like die Dan's like written on the wall."
Ray Finkel.
Ray Finkel, yeah.
I think that might be Eddie's first ever movie reference on the pod.
Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it?
It's a movie that came out when I was almost in high school.
I've seen that.
Did the teddy bear kind of weird anyone out a little bit?
I was a little strange, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what high school dude has a teddy bear in his room? Like,
and did his family put the teddy bear in there knowing that cameras were coming?
Yeah. Well, I feel sorry.
I never even paid attention that he got 18 years.
Yeah, he got a shit ton. He got the book thrown at him pretty much.
The judge that was basically like,
yeah,
you're getting the max, basically.
But, I mean, he was also arrested for multiple felonies.
Right.
And one in Oklahoma. Like, he did all that stuff in Waco. I think it was all in one day. It wasn't like 3 different people in one day. Or maybe it was over 3 days.
He was busy. He had a busy night.
And
it was a Labor Day weekend. You know, it was an extended weekend. He had a good time.
And then he came to Norman with somebody and robbed somebody like at the Commons or something, or the University
something like
Greens
that, yeah.
or something.
It was one of those stories, too, that it just, I don't know. I feel sorry for the parents. Obviously, not their fault, but I like the innuendo that I wish he would have never gone to Oklahoma.
That was a strange part of it.
That
really was.
When you remember his dad was like at Baylor walking around not accusing, but basically yelling at people about when are they going to let
quoted.
Yeah, when are they going to let my son out of a scholarship or whatever?
I think he's doing the same outside of a prison these days. When are they going to let my son out?
I think he knows. I think he gets it now. It's pretty serious.
Sad story, though.
That whole thing kind of bothered me. I felt like the author just kind of glossed over that quote. I guess probably because it's convenient for him to do so. But what did Oklahoma have to do with it when most of his crime was right back where he grew up? Like, that doesn't add up at all. I didn't understand
and he went back after the bowl game.
Right.
And then did a bunch of crimes.
Right.
So it was like he'd been talking to his buddies and like, hey, I can't wait till you get home, man. We're going to go out. We're going to rob some people.
Well, let's not act like the Waco Tribune's some kind of bastion of journalism. They kind of glossed over a 5-year rape.
They ignored a lot of stuff that was going on.
And this was from one of Eddie's favorite writers. This was the one that said,
it was Mac Engel, wasn't it?
That Baker Mayfield's going to be a bust after winning the Big 12 championship. That was his takeaway.
That was the Star Telegram,
yes.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Star Telegram.
It was.
So,
because I looked at
Waco
it
Tribune.
from William Wilkerson. Who,
that's right.
But it was the Dallas Morning News that did the article, though, right?
No.
It was the 4-star.
It was Mac Engel.
Yeah.
Oh, that did this one we're talking about.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
I just figured he was a big enough loser to write for the Waco Tribune.
He's got a lot of bad takes.
I don't know who owns who anymore when it comes to papers. They might have the same ownership group. So anyway, I don't know how we got off on a tangent, as we always do. But we were talking about Big 12 Media Days. What would you ask Bob Bowlsby?
Wow, we really got off. That was a while ago.
Yeah, that was quite a while ago. I said I think day 2 is going to be really interesting. And here's the thing: Lincoln Riley we've never seen him in this setting when he wasn't he wasn't sure who his quarterback was going to be because he knew Baker was his quarterback. He's going to get a lot of questions, like Eddie said. He'll get a lot of questions where he's going to have to answer, well, we haven't named a starting quarterback yet, because all the questions are going to be, so you think Kyler Murray can produce like Baker Mayfield did? I mean, that'll happen over and over and over again.
If he really wants to make waves, this would be kind of funny, is he says that Austin Kendall's number 1 going into camp. That's how you make waves.
I think you even saw it with the unveiling of the uniforms. They had Austin Kendall as one of the guys. They're trying to do their damnedest to make sure he is not forgotten about.
Do you think you could hear the audible cheer from the Oakland Athletics front office if that actually happened?
I know the scout that drafted him would certainly appreciate that, because his ass is going to be in the jackpot if Kyler gets hurt. I would think. It will be interesting to see what happens down there, though, just for the fact that there really isn't a whole lot of questions that are going to be answered or be able to be answered in 5 days in Frisco.
I think the first question to Lincoln should be, are you a man of integrity, and can you keep yourself from taking a bribe from Kyler Murray, the new starting quarterback? Hey, coach, here's $1 million. Just tell Austin to transfer.
Say shucks.
Guys, if you're Austin Kendall, knowing the situation as we understand it, unless he knows something we don't know, even if he loses the job, what sense does it make to transfer?
Right.
Yeah, especially with the year.
Unless you don't think you're better than Spencer Rattler already.
Who will be coming in with, by the time the first game is there, at best 7 months in the offense.
Yeah, no, I would think that the situation for him is more settled now than it was, even 4 months ago, just for the fact that you didn't know what was going to happen with Kyler, and I think everybody around here kind of figured this was going to be the situation. Kyler was going to have a decision to make. Well, the decision just got ramped up a year ahead, so it actually works out for everybody involved that we know that Kyler's going to be a one and done. They can move on. Austin Kendall doesn't have to look for a spot because, he will be the, I guess, quote-unquote heir apparent after things get over with Kyler.
Unless Tanner Mordecai ends up being a superstar on the scout team.
And look, it's not hard for Lincoln to sit there and say, look, Austin, look at Kyler. He's going to be running around all over the place. There's a chance he might not finish this season intact.
Is it weird to think that, and I don't know how to word this, but is Kyler Murray going to be able to take care of his body the way that, because he's a little bit quicker than maybe a guy like Baker was, and how kind of reckless he was as a sophomore and junior? I mean, he got a lot better about it, even going back to last year.
He had to learn how to kind of...
It seems like Kyler has that little extra quick twitch that can get him out of bounds, or he can get down quicker. I don't know.
So you said, could he be more vulnerable?
Is he going to be a guy that really likes to slide?
Yeah.
And that's one thing, Baker.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt that Kyler's going to be much better about taking care of his body than
right. I guess that's
was.
what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I saw him play several times in high school, and I can't remember that kid ever taking a big hit. And I don't mean like he's not a tough kid. He just understands his limitations. He can't get hit over and over again.
And now that you have I'm sure a pretty expensive insurance policy, and you've got the contract with the A's, he's not going to be giving up. Let's say I don't ever expect Kyler to jump up and do a flip into the end zone trying to get one more yard for a touchdown.
He might do it, just make the highlight better.
No Bradford
doing his best Sam. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, nobody can do that.
No, but I think that's going to be kind of the annoying part of Big 12 Media Days, and I'll probably do what I always do and just hang out with Lincoln during his hour. It's like an hour and a half now.
Hour and a half. Yep.
Man, that's tough. And I think even I get bored and I just leave.
And the four players that OU's bringing, I don't know who's going to be the guy you go to. Who's going to become the charismatic guy that takes over afternoon.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. This was my point. And this is what I think Lincoln Riley is doing. This is not any kind of, I'm not speaking for Lincoln Riley. But I think it's like he said when he talked to us in Tulsa. Someone asked him, and this is what's cool with Lincoln, you can ask him a very direct question and he's not just going to browbeat you and treat you like you're stupid. Someone asked him, what are your biggest concerns going into the fall? Or not that, he said, what do you think your biggest weakness is? Which if you ask Bob that question, he would just gruffly dismiss you. But Lincoln said, our leadership. And I thought, wow, that's kind of interesting that he would, name something like that, because Bob would never do that. And I think this kind of shows you he's identified Ben Powers, Amani Bledsoe, Rodney Anderson, and Kenneth Murray as the four guys that could be the difference between having leadership and not, because they're all really good players. They're all veteran players. Well, Murray's not really, and Bledsoe's kind of there, but not really. I think he knows. Okay, we need to get these guys need to be in position to be voices, to talk, to represent the team, to take ownership in the team. And I really get that sense about maybe that's why he picked these guys.
Is it a message to guys like Caleb Kelly and Neville Gallimore, Bobby Evans, that maybe you would have thought they would have been there, and now it's like, hey, this is what you need to work on when we get going to practice?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Is it just as much about who they're bringing as about who they're not bringing? Or are we reading way too much into it?
I mean, Caleb's a junior and Kenneth is a sophomore, so I think that says something.
I think it says something, and I also think that this might have been just a Benny Wiley decision. Who's worked their ass off, who deserves it. He threw some names out, and, I don't know if I certainly don't think he asked for 4 names, and then that's the 4 that Benny Wiley put out and he took. But, I mean, how much has Riley be able to be around the team during the summer? Probably not very much.
Well, they get coach time, but he said they don't waste it. They use their time kind of for meetings more than they do for working with kids.
Yeah.
On the strength and conditioning stuff. So, and they can't do anything that involves a ball.
God, the NCAA is so
But I mean, that's more than they used to be able to do, which is good.
True. That's true.
Although it is stupid because you see like Mike Boynton's OSU's tweeting out stuff with Mike Boynton doing basketball practices and up and down the court, and he's able to talk about.
They're going across to Europe.
I mean, they're going to Europe, but I'm just saying, why does basketball? I mean, basketball's further away than football is in terms of their season.
Yeah, I don't know.
Of course, you have spring football. I guess you have summer basketball.
No, they're just working out right now, right?
Correct. Yes.
In their new facility. Have you been by there yet?
I've seen it. I've never, went in.
There's no tours
yet.
that have been given?
No, they said it's not completely finished. Although they can use it, it's not 100% done, so there won't be a tour until probably like August. Probably alumni weekend. That'd be my bet when they want to showcase it.
You've seen some videos of guys kind of working in there and stuff like that. But, no, I mean, I think there's something calculated with it. That's a good point, Eddie. I mean, it could be
if there's anything we know
thing.
about Lincoln Riley, every decision that is made down there is calculated in some way.
He puts thought behind everything.
Yeah, there's a reason for it. For every decision.
I want to know the reason why it's July 22nd. It just seems so early where you can't answer anything.
I did reach out to OU, and I was actually texting with someone during this podcast. I was texting with a football rep, and he said was the date that worked out best with football based on preseason schedule, which I could see because media day and fan day, there's usually also a practice that day because there are 2 practices
Correct.
in. And then they'll practice later that day, and I'm sure Lincoln looked at that and said, why do we do it this way? We could be doing film study or something before we go out to practice. This is kind of chaotic. So
the one thing
I could say. But I also am a believer that Lincoln, and I'm hoping this is true because it won't mean that there's some big, blackout period between media day and the first practices that we get to, is OU going to have them practice for 2 weeks before they let the media talk to them so they can do all their website stuff or whatever? So, but I think Lincoln is a guy that he always wants something on the calendar. I mean, they've got the barbecue the next weekend, so you have media day. You can probably do some stuff with your current players, whether it's photos or videos or whatever, to show kids when they come in for barbecue. I think he's just a guy that always likes to have something going. It's like a parent, that's taking his kids on vacation. You don't want them just sitting around in the room. You want to find things for them to do to keep them active and wear them out so they go to bed at night.
And it does look like it'll be later in the day.
Not that I'm a parent.
Because usually
kids.
Casey Anthony had a theory on that.
Usually the kids stuff starts at 10 in the morning. I think it's starting at 1:30 on Sunday.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I think that means the time for us will be even later. It'll be around 4 or 5.
On a Sunday.
Be different.
You know what? Better than a Saturday. I'll say it.
Glad I saved my vacation for that week.
For the next week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a given. August 4th is when I penciled it in my head.
When will they start practice? Do we know that yet?
It should be.
Like
OSU is having their media day on the 4th, but they start practice. But their first game's on a Thursday.
Right.
So they probably start
August
a couple days early.
30th, I guess.
I mean, just looking at the calendar,
they'll probably start August 1st.
and it usually starts middle of the week.
Right.
Their first practice. So I would say, first or second is when they probably start practicing. Might even be the 31st. So, I mean, yeah, you're right. We don't know the media day, but like Joe C is going to talk to us about the Jordan stuff on July 22nd. But like I said, we'll be at media days. There probably won't be a whole lot that you'll get between then and then other than the ability to hopefully talk to any player you want. I mean, that's kind of gone away too. So.
Yeah, the way they've had the last couple of years, just had those little tables with the name cards. And
one thing we'll be talking to Lincoln about on Monday is what's going on with Jalen Redmond.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's something, it's kind of one of those things like I normally wrote about it on the board earlier this week because he tweeted some things out.
Right.
And I think, Bob, you pointed it out to us.
It's just he's openly talking about it without talking about it. So it's out there.
It was Coach Carter. Who's Coach? Is he a Midwest City coach or just
I think he's with
trainer,
Choctaw, but he's in that area. He's with J.D. Runnels. He knows him well.
Because J.D., I know who he is. But he was sending him messages about getting well, and he said thank you, or he was saying prayers for Jalen Redmond. And then he mentioned that he got out of the hospital the other day.
Right.
And I checked into it, and it was something about, he's had a blood clot in his lung. I don't know if it's multiple, but a blood clot in his lung, and he's on blood. They put him on blood thinners, and that's always kind of a dangerous area. Pulmonary embolism, is that what the danger is? I think when you have a blood clot in your lung. Eddie, you want to take a shot at that?
No, I'd rather not.
Yeah, when you have that, that's always a danger, and that could kill you. So. We'll have to talk to Lincoln, see how much he can tell us, whether this threatens his football future, whether it threatens his freshman season. And I think one of you guys brought it up. Like, this could be where that 4-game thing, for freshmen and still keeping your red shirt might really come into effect, because if he's sidetracked by this and he has to regain his strength or whatever throughout the season, he might not be ready to play until it's halfway done.
And just to clear this up, this isn't what kept him out of the spring game, correct?
No,
I guess we don't. There was something.
No, he was
entirely different.
I remember talking
right?
to Mike about it, and he was doing really well, and then he just got a nagging injury.
Okay,
and then I think I was even told if it was a game, if it was the regular season,
he could have played.
He could have played.
That's what Lincoln said about Jalen and Pledger from the spring game. If it was a regular season game, they both would have played.
So it's just
cool.
It's one of those. He's lucky they found it. I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could have been really a terrible situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he had another tweet yesterday. I think he was talking to his sister about how he went 5 days in a hospital. So the only thing he's looking to do now is to get out.
Yeah,
he wants to be a kid again.
But again, that's something on Monday that we'll talk to Lincoln about. And then, the other thing is how is the Texas thing going to be? Because I love Sean Clinch and Eddie's boy Anthony, good people,
great people.
But they're probably they're there to report from the Texas perspective. So it's always interesting. I kind of enjoy it now. I think I used to be kind of one of those get off my lawn guys. Just why do you ask stupid Texas questions and OU players? We got things to do. But now I kind of I'm getting older. I care less. Maybe I don't know.
Well, they'll use
but
that.
I enjoy when you get the yokel Austin, questions being asked to OU players. It's not the stupid Rick Renner thing. Just the color orange make you want to pee.
Sometimes it's one of those situations though that it's just it comes off so arrogant that, and not those guys, but there's some out there that will ask questions.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like the dumbass that tweeted me from Alabama, the SEC guy. It's you're just privileged to be in the same setting as Texas today. How does it feel? You may have won the conference.
You sure that's just not you?
The last
kinda?
10 times.
projecting that a little bit?
Me?
Yeah.
It might be.
You got to admit, you feel like Clinch does that a little bit.
Well, sometimes, but that's just Clinch, and that's why we love him.
Yes.
I love the Clincher.
There's one thing I'm wondering about.
Clinch is a hugger, though. He's gonna want to hug
he
you
is.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Not just a hugger; he'll grab you. Sometimes we grab each other's balls just for fun.
When it comes to Riley, with Eric Stryker, CFL, is there anything? Is there any way that Stryker can try to stay on? Is there any movement in that direction of what's going on there?
I mean, here's Lincoln's dilemma: is you've got to replace that position before budget cuts come to the athletic department. And they're like, oh, we can't fill that position. Like, and I'm sure Lincoln's going to get what he wants, in that situation. By the way, what is this dumb shit about Joe Castiglione? And why is it that every time some dude that has a Twitter account in Minnesota comes up with some expansion talk in the middle of July, that we even have to address?
You just said it because it's the middle of July and there's nothing.
It's that same guy.
It's the same guy that comes up every year.
Last year was some stupid shit that made no sense either.
I didn't even really read into it.
Oh, he was going to sell their third-tier rights to the Big Ten Network? They have a grant of rights. I don't even think they can do that.
Well, I mean, there's always reasons to talk about stuff that's going to happen in 2022 or 2025, whatever it is. It's the same thing that keeps A&M fans sane through the 6 months of summer before they end up shitting all over themselves.
I'm getting texts about Jalen Redmond as we're doing this.
Well, this is interesting with Spencer Rattler going to the Army Bowl when he did nothing with Adidas throughout the entire camp season.
Is it the Army Bowl one more year?
No,
yeah, I think this is the last year.
Really, the graphic that he sent out just says All-American Bowl.
Okay, then it may have been it was this year or last year.
All-American Bowl presented by American Family Insurance.
You're right. But it is Adidas. It's got the three stripe hashtag.
So if I remember correctly, him and Stogner will be down there together.
Was the All-American Insurance, were they were doing the presentations, right? Mm-hmm. Like when they did the Army presentations.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Like that was like going back to Sterling.
Yeah.
Would Under Armour do presentations at schools?
Yeah, they go around and do them. Because I went to
Broyles,
and then I went to Trey Brown's.
Justice Hansen's.
Levi's.
Yeah.
Go look at your video. See, I mean, I'm wondering like if that is flipped. Like if that All-American Insurance was doing Under Armour and now they're the sponsor of the Adidas Bowl.
The sponsor itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to think, because what was Sterling? Was he Under Armour?
Under Armour.
Yes, Under Armour. Him and Alex Ross, but Ross couldn't play.
I think that was the first time I'd seen that All-American Insurance thing was at Sterling's.
Pretty sure it was at Broyles. Yeah, it was at Broyles, and they were with Under Armour. They were with Under Armour. American Family Insurance, because they do the...
They were with Under Armour, so now they're sponsoring the bowl, yeah.
They switched.
Because they go and do the... and the only reason I remember that is because at all the ceremonies, they bring the family up, and they honor, like, the parents, and they give them a plaque, and it's pretty cool.
Give them the dream plaque.
I wonder if Under Armour was like, you can't have your logo at our reveals anymore or something.
I don't know. I'm sure they spent a lot of money doing it.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I knew the Army was pulling out, which seems weird because that seemed like a really good vehicle for them.
It'll be interesting to see what that game is like because so much that game offers is the atmosphere of the game. But if you don't have 20,000 troops in there, I don't know how that's going to feel. It may be awkward.
Yeah, that's true. They had a lot of servicemen in there.
Yep. And it was, I mean, it really was. It was so much. I've never been to the Under Armour game, but I've seen it on TV, and it looks like a snoozer. I mean, it looks like the game itself is asleep.
They play that like at the Camping World Bowl or whatever it is now, right?
The Under Armour game?
The Under Armour game.
They play it by Steve Mariucci.
They play it where they had the Russell Athletic Bowl where
I believe that's right. Where you really enjoyed life.
Oh, God. Eddie, you're so lucky. You got to stay home.
I went to Disney World for Christmas. I loved it.
Thank God for Jesus' birthday.
How can you like Disney if you don't have kids?
Brittany had an internship at Disney.
My
She
niece
worked
did
at
that,
one
too.
of the
Yeah.
hotels. So it's
Dylan,
going back home for her.
Dylan Buckingham is at Disney World right now with his family. 3 kids under, I think 4 or 5.
Why would you take kids that young? They're never going to remember.
I think the oldest one's old enough that he might be able to remember it, but I just told him I'm going to pray for you. Like that sounds.
Not to mention you have to go to Orlando.
Oh,
which is just
the entire process.
A shit show all the way around.
Starting with the plane ride, because I remember everybody was talking about on the way out there to fly to Orlando. It was like
it's
6 sports riders and then 100 families.
Yeah.
I drove.
Did you?
The stupidest decision.
That sounds
That's
even
a
worse.
horrible drive. It's a
terrible.
horrible drive. You think it's never going to end. You get into Florida, and then you're only
5
halfway
hours.
there.
Got 5 hours left.
Sounds awful.
I've never driven to Miami, nor would I.
I knew a couple people that drove to Miami for the OU. It would have been USC game,
Oh, God.
and that was.
I think I would have just started driving back home at halftime of that one.
It was pretty fun. Got to boo Ashley Simpson.
So you made that drive with
No,
him?
I flew.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, okay, back to day 2. You got Mike Gundy, who doesn't have a quarterback, so he's probably not going to be real happy and receptive about a lot of questions. You got Tom Herman. Don't you guys think Tom Herman's just going in there to do a sales job?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's all he can do, can he?
I just hope that it's not early enough that his hangover will run out.
I mean, you got to say Texas's recruiting is not bad.
This is the thing that I've always said, and yeah, it was not good the last couple years, but when has Texas ever been in a position where they couldn't recruit?
Yeah.
Like, talent has never been a problem in Austin.
That's the thing I never understood when everybody be like, oh, Mac Brown's such a great recruiter. Is it really that hard to recruit to Texas?
Yeah, if you can't recruit to Austin,
They don't even have the best facilities out there, and they still
No.
recruit whoever they want. I would say they have
one of those things
average
where
facilities.
A lot of states that produce talent, like Georgia produces a ton of talent, but Georgia kids look around. Like, they'll look at Florida schools. They'll look, I mean, even in some cases, they've looked at OU, you know? I mean, there's several good examples there. But Texas kids, Texas is almost always their first choice. There's very rarely that guy that's like, I just want to get out of Texas.
But it is. I mean, it's just it's strange, and you would think Texas is struggling because OU gets Weiss and Bridges and Henderson, and they have to go to Oklahoma to get the next best receiver that they could get. And you're just like, wow, they're not doing that well. But really, I mean, you look at their star average, it's really good.
yeah,
It's as good as anybody's in the country. I mean, Alabama's running away with the star average.
the next couple
What
years
does
are going
A&M
to
have,
be
like 21 commitments or something right now?
Yeah,
They've got a lot.
wonder how many they've paid. It'll be interesting to see. The next couple years are huge for Tom Herman, just in that
Yeah, he's at Texas. I mean, he didn't do very well last year.
they didn't do well.
Plays
and
concussed quarterbacks.
his whole shtick. If you don't win, you can't operate like he operates.
Don't you think Ellinger is going to be the starter again?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Until he goes down.
Yeah.
I would think so.
But then I don't know if it's Shane Buechele or if it ends up being Rising.
Or Casey Thompson.
Or
I've
Casey.
heard,
Casey Thompson
I've heard
survived
from
in that
multiple
offense.
people that he was really good.
I
during
heard the same
spring.
thing, yeah. I didn't really talk to our Texas guys about it that much in Atlanta. But, yeah, I get the feeling that Casey Thompson has a legit shot in that race, which probably says a lot about Cameron Rising.
Yeah. I don't know. I will say one thing about Big 12 Media Day. There's a lot of question marks just for a lot of teams in the fact that the conference is probably as wide open as it's been, just with all the question marks that OU has going into it. I mean, OU's obviously going to be the favorite, but I'm not in love with Will Grier as much as everybody else is.
I'm not in love with David Sills as much as everybody else is.
Because he's white.
Yep.
No, he's
Absolutely.
just awkward. He's very awkward. I mean, he's not a quick twitch guy at all.
Because he's white.
They're quick twitch white guys.
And they only get compared to
Not
Wes
that
Welker.
big.
But he's awkward looking.
I don't know. I think he's pretty damn good.
Are we getting into the athletic head thing, Carey?
I'd have to see his head. That might explain a lot.
It all starts there? Okay.
Let me look it up. David Sills' head.
I'm wondering how many questions Justice Hill gets asked about Dax.
Well, if a reporter goes down there and asks Justice Hill about his little brother, they should be taken out and shot.
No, somebody from the Oklahoman absolutely will ask him that, and they should ask him that.
Oh, I can tell you right there. That's the only question I'd want to ask at Big 12 Media Days. That's the only thing I care about, so I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, people want to read about that, though. I mean, people in the state, OSU fans want to read about that. They want to know, okay, right now in the process, is your brother... I think there's a lot of good questions you could ask Justice, which one being, does the fact that OSU's recruiting looks like it's one of the worst in the conference hurt your brother's chances of going to OSU? I mean,
what's he supposed to say?
I think he would be pretty honest about that because that's not OSU business. I mean, I don't think that you can separate. I mean, if you're an OSU fan, I've been saying this for a long time, you cannot separate that having a recruiting class that is barely ahead of Kansas, Kansas State, and West Virginia right now amongst the other conference members. That, to me, if I'm a 5-star, why do I want to go to that class and be a part of that recruiting class, or go to that school and be a part of that recruiting class, when I have all these other choices that are number 1, number 3, what's Michigan, 6, 5? 4? I mean, there's if you care at all about winning, why would you want to be a part of a class that has like a 2.5 average star rating?
That's why I don't think he's going to Oklahoma State.
The other 5 of his 6 are 1, 3, 4, 7, and 10 in the rivals.
My
rankings.
God, and OSU was 45th last I checked.
I mean,
let's see.
When you put it that way, OSU wouldn't even have a foot in the door if Justice isn't there, right?
But that's the thing.
Oh, sure.
And that's the thing.
And he's not going to be there in a year.
That's the thing about recruiting and Holder's comments is it really hurts when you don't get Demarion Houston. It hurts, but that just compounds the fact that could have made their recruiting class take a huge jump in the rankings and in perception. It could have, I don't think snowballed into something more. Like, they haven't had anything that's helped them build momentum with this recruiting class at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't gotten one really. Well, they don't have a single 4-star, I don't believe.
No, they don't. They don't.
And they had like 3 last year.
Unless you consider Grayson Boomer someone who has 4-star potential.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was any Oklahoma State fans out there saying though that Boone was wrong with what he said. I don't think he was wrong. He hit it right on the head. They need to recruit better.
You can go back historically, and I think I've said this till I'm blue in the face, but TCU was always like in the 60s before they joined the Big 12. Look at them now.
Yeah.
They're the best example of a team that jumped. And I mean, it comes back to this for me. Texas has been down. Baylor took themselves out of the running. TCU has stepped up and filled that void a little bit. TCU, for a while there, they were stealing guys from OU. Who was the offensive lineman that I don't think has amounted to crap?
Oh, the kid from Dallas Carter.
Barnett, was that his name?
Dallas Skyline. Ty Barrett.
Ty Barrett. That's
it. Yeah.
Ty Barrett.
Like, they won out in a legitimate recruiting battle against OU. Now, they're not doing that as much now, but my God, OSU has at least got to be competing with TCU, with Baylor out of the picture, with Texas Tech just being average.
Guys, on the other side of it, think of OU's 20. Think how different our whole conversation would sound if Oklahoma had picked Justice Hill over Abdul Adams, and how obvious that choice sounds now.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if Justice Hill gets enough carries, though.
That's the one thing I've
OU
always said. That's the one thing I've been saying.
To stay, he might have ended up transferring out. I mean, at OSU, he was lucky that their running back sucked.
Yeah.
Because he basically became their only option. And he was guys like, when he was first,
pretty
getting
damn
on
good
scene,
option to have.
he became a great option, but most people would have looked at him saying he's small. He's got to be a specialty back. I mean, now you look. I mean, if you see him up close and personal, he's a big dude.
Yeah,
he's stocky.
He's yoked. The night that I went and saw him play against Bixby I think it was state. I don't know if it might have been the last game of the regular season. He had like maybe 200 at half though. He had like 3 touchdowns. He had a 99-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
Like I remember DMing Josh or texting Josh, and it's like this fool can play. He's going to be really, really good.
By the way, Big 12 Media Days, this day in history. Shout out to Julian Wilson. First person I ever heard use the term swole.
Jew.
Is he on a practice squad?
Julian.
Is he still on a practice squad?
I don't think so. I think he was like...
Makes me really feel old knowing that I saw him play in high school. And he's been out of school, what? 3 years now? 4 years?
I saw guys that are retired that played in high school, right?
That's true.
That's when it gets real, Eddie.
I have a picture on the floor over there of Wes Welker at Heritage Hall, among with many other things on the floor.
Little Graham Colton. Graham Colton to Wes
Graham
Welker.
Colton pick? Hold on.
Josh, is there anything we should be asking you about recruiting?
There were a couple commits in the last week since the last time we were here. Talked about the 4th of July fireworks, and then
Woodi Washington, Darian Greenwarren.
Yeah, we should Bob should get to talk about his little
Marcus
tease
Major.
that I didn't even pick up on after our last episode.
Well, that was just the strangest thing we've encountered yet with Lincoln Riley and the eyes.
Welker?
Because usually he sends the eyes out, it's a week, maybe 2 weeks at most. But that was May 9th, and by May 11th, Josh, maybe May 10th, we knew it was Green Warren, and we just had to sit and wait.
Which was even more interesting, Bob, because there was, I mean, you know it better than I do because this was more a part of one of your conversations. There was some smoke screen going on about who it was, even though we're like, this is who it is. But there were definitely some people trying to mask that a little bit and act like, because I think everybody still, there's this, it's so interesting when you talk to fans or when you talk to parents or when you talk to the coaches. And when I say coach, I mean a high school coach, just everybody. Everybody has this differing level of what, A, they're willing to reveal, and B, what they actually know. And so you kind of have to keep just kind of like scraping off the top of it until you can actually get down to what's actually happened. And that's why the July 3rd one that everyone still wants to talk about, it's weird and you can't really go into all of it. And so you're just like, I don't even know where to start with it. So, but yeah, I mean, we knew for a long time that was Green Warren. And even I can tell you, even the week before when I finally did an interview with him, like the morning of his announcement, and he was like, as a few days before that, he was like, yeah, still trying to figure it out. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, Oklahoma's going to be really disappointed if you suddenly are like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that thing I did 2 months ago.
So we sort of knew that one was coming, but then Friday with Woodi Washington, I think we all thought it would be at the barbecue. That was going to be the big name that commits at the barbecue. Why do you think he decided to go ahead and just get it done now?
From some of my understanding is that, the barbecue was his plan, and he had told some people, our guy, Woody Womack in the Southeast, really well connected, did a great job, had a really good relationship with Woodi Washington, as complicated as two WWs are. But talking to him, I got the impression from some of the, and I need to run a story. I actually spoke to Woody yesterday, and I need to kind of get that story out. But he is a guy that I think he got the idea in his head to kind of stem some of the momentum, maybe even some of the negativity that would have come out toward Oklahoma if they'd have missed out on Eric Young and then they'd have missed out on Chris Steele and some of that. Woody put all that on the back burner. Everything's good in 2019. We got, Oklahoma got their elite corner. They can feel good about it. And now they can kind of keep moving forward with a few other guys. Jaden Davis is, I think, a week from today, he'll announce his decision. So Oklahoma's in a great place this month. And what's going to be interesting to me at the barbecue, kind of leading into that conversation, is I don't know if there's even going to be one 2019 commitment. I'm not sure about that.
That was actually what I was going to ask about, because it feels like these with Jaden Davis perhaps going here in the next week with Woodi Washington already happening. Marcus Major was another one that maybe could have been a barbecue kid. Who's left that could really make that type of splash?
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, people. I had somebody. Actually, I think it was Brooke Pryor from the Oklahoman was kind of like, do you expect a similar level of, I guess commitments and excitement, and everything like that to come out of this as there was at the spring game? It's just not mathematically possible. Like it can't happen because Oklahoma doesn't have enough spots in the 2019 class. They would literally be done with their 2019 recruiting if that were to happen again, and that's not where they want to be. I mean, they're not. Oklahoma's always been a place that kind of likes to watch some senior tape. They want to take in some new information. If they like a guy a little more or that guy a little less, they can move accordingly. But no, I think 2020 is where you're going to see action at the barbecue, and so that'll be really interesting when you consider that Oklahoma already has 4 big-time commitments. If they go into this, into the season with 7, 8, starting to push toward 10 commitments in that class, that's just unbelievable as far as that head start goes. They could have almost half their class done a year before the first signing period.
I want to ask you guys, obviously, about Marcus Major and Bob. You were just up at Millwood, but to kind of piggyback on the idea of Oklahoma already filling their 2019 class, and we're now a couple of weeks removed from the Rivals camp, and we talked to a bunch of guys there. Obviously, all the Oklahoma commits did really well at the opening. As far as like momentum and just everything that's involved with recruiting right now, I can't remember a time that OU was this hot as far as just, it seems like they're in on every guy, every top 5 that comes out for a major player. If Oklahoma's not in on it, they were in that top 10 or the top 7 or top 8 or whatever. I just can't ever remember a time that we left these summer camps and headed into the season with OU in a position where they were not necessarily deflecting kids or turning kids down, but it just seems like they're getting closer to that conversation of recruiting at an elite level than maybe they were 2-3 years ago.
No, Eddie, you can go ahead and say that because Carey Cook said it openly after the spring game. He's got to do the Heisman pose to some of these guys in the secondary that want to join this group because there's only going to be a certain number. But, obviously...
He tells them just scrubs.
Obviously, Josh has done this a lot longer than I have, but what I've noticed the real difference is when OU makes a top 10 or a top 5, how much more of it is legitimate now. Mm-hmm. Instead of just being a token finalist or just okay, that top 5 kid from Cali, yeah, they're never going to give him the visit. It doesn't even matter. Now you're like, wait a minute, how realistic is this chance? And more it's becoming, this is a legit possibility of this kid coming to Norman.
Well, look at Justin Flo. I've been talking about him for a while. To my knowledge, there's not even been that serious of contact between them. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been communication, but it's nothing, like I'm not basing it off some secret knowledge. I'm basing it off that Oklahoma does really well in Southern California, and that's an elite dude. And I'm like, they'll probably get a visit. Like I'm literally just playing the numbers on him right now. And so I think that's a great point. When you say, when Oklahoma's in a top 5, you're not like, well, but that's not a very good chance. I mean, it may be a guy where I'm not going to pick. I wouldn't pick OU to land that guy, but I still understand that there's a chance there. I mean, things go right. Maybe Alabama fills up at this spot or USC ends up taking too many linebackers. If one team fell away, Oklahoma has as good a chance as anybody. And then in a lot of cases, they have as good a chance as anybody, period. So I really think some of it is due to, obviously Oklahoma having success, Baker Mayfield. I think anytime you have a player like that is so engaging and everybody loves to watch him play, I think that the last guy I saw like that for Oklahoma was Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Guys wanted to be around him, even if they weren't going to play with him. It was cool to say they were at the same place that Adrian Peterson played. And now I think you've got some of that with Baker. But I think a huge part of it, and I've said it for a long time, Oklahoma does a better job almost unanimously across the board of always having that backup plan. Oklahoma never looks surprised anymore. Not never, but like I said, with very few exceptions, Oklahoma not only has the right information, so they kind of know what's coming before it happens, but they also do a really good job of, okay, if we're going to miss out on this guy like Chris Steele that we really wanted, well, you know what? We're ready to bear down on Woodi Washington and go ahead and close that deal. Guys, they really just kind of went to the number 33 player in the whole damn country and were like, we'd like you to go ahead and commit about 3 weeks early. Is that cool? And he's like, yeah, that's cool. That's never happened before. It's like we talked about with Theo and Jamal and R.J. Henderson back in the spring game. They have such a good idea that of a bigger picture. It's not just about the commitment. It's like, what does it look like to everybody else? And I think they do a phenomenal job with that now.
And that has to coincide with actually having a recruiting department, having people that head that up, whether it be Annie Hansen or Drew Hill or whoever. They have a vision. And I think that's why, for the longest time, people were bitching and complaining that, you didn't really have a lot of, direction in what they were trying to do recruiting. And I'm talking about 5-6 years ago, not 2 or 3.
And it's kind of like we talked about with Lincoln having the who he's inviting to the Big 12, why they're moving up, media day, fan day. Like, there is not just, like, I think most programs would like to just get certain guys, but OU is getting to the point where they're like, okay, let's have a plan that actually builds us some momentum as we go along. Let's not get into a big lull where nothing happens in our program. Oh, by the way, when we have Bob Stoops' statue ceremony, let's do that while we've got the biggest recruiting weekend of the year going on. And I mean, that's what I think. Like, Lincoln was so visibly and audibly upset about the early kickoffs early in the season because that really screwed them with that UCLA game and making that a big recruiting weekend, which to him, he's not going to be like Bob always would have been like, well, we play the cards they're dealt. He's just like, no, this sucks. This is terrible. I was pissed off. I said something to Joe C about it. It's not good for us.
That has to have been a decision, too, that in a way I feel like there was a realization inside the athletic department or the football program that you can't just rely on 7 national championships or the history and the tradition of Oklahoma. Because I think there for a while, and especially maybe even when I was in school up to 2010, 2011, 2012, that they really kind of just relied on the fact that, they won a national championship in 2000, Billy Sims played here, and just
that's why facilities got behind.
Right, exactly. There was definitely a turn, and I don't know when you can pinpoint it, but there definitely was a turn in, I don't know if it's ideology or if it's just a realization that there's some kids that could give a shit who Billy Vessels played for.
Yeah.
So
most kids could give a shit who Billy Vessels played for.
Hell, kids today don't even know that Josh Heupel probably played at OU.
No, they don't. Or who he is.
Right.
I would guess if I asked half of the guys on the current roster, they wouldn't know who Billy Vessels is.
No. And they walk by the statue almost every single day.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's not like I don't feel
that's
like that's
not shitting on history either. That's just
but what's
people
weird
don't
is
care.
you walk by, you go, "That's a dead guy. That's a dead guy. That's a dead guy." That's what you think when you walk by a statue. Well, you gotta walk by Baker and be like, "He's not dead." They probably think Jason White's been dead for 100 years.
Do you think some of the older guys that were recruited by Bob were like, "When did Coach die?"
Well, they probably think Bob Stoops died, and that's why he got a statue. It's like, I remember growing up watching Bob Stoops coach. Rest in peace, Bob.
God, Carol was a really nice lady. I feel bad for her.
Yeah, usually you get a statue, you die.
Does that make her a widower?
No, sir.
I don't know what you just said.
Don't let him go farther.
You don't just drop it.
It's a question. It's a question for friends.
I got to go back and look.
It's a question for friends. I was just wondering if that makes her a widow.
By the way, I censored your Tom Herman question last week.
That's probably good. That was one. Sometimes you say things and driving home back to Oklahoma City, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
The problem was I censored it, but I didn't save it, and then I uploaded it before I'd saved it, so then I had to upload it again. So some people got to hear the question.
Oh, okay.
I had 3 different people, including one of my best friends who called me not an hour before we started the pod, this one. He was like, what did Eddie say? What was the thing about Tom Herman? Like, everybody was like, what was that?
Oh, because it was bleeped out?
Yeah, they really wanted to know what it was. They were upset they'd missed it.
Nothing that needs to be repeated.
That's a fact.
Subscribers only.
See, Eddie,
Yes.
here's the
On the
key.
Crimson Corner, we have it.
Here's the key. You can be awful, just don't be so awful that it gets you fired from another job.
Yeah. That wouldn't be good. That wouldn't support.
And in the age of Twitter, that could definitely happen to you. Or any
Yeah, because it's not just us now, Eddie. Like, Carey and I will put up with almost anything. But normal employers that don't have our flexibility, you're going to be in trouble.
Noted.
Just looking out for you.
I am moving to the city. I'm moving downtown, Josh.
Eddie's becoming,
what?
He's becoming an urbanite.
interested.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm moving
He's
to the
moving
urban.
to a high rise.
I'm moving to the downtown, midtown. My
Now,
city.
are you a buyer or are you a leaser? What'd you go with?
Lease.
Okay.
I won't say where because I don't want people.
There's going to be
Congregated.
autograph seekers,
I
Eddie.
want
You don't want
congregation outside. But if you do listen to the pod
You
and
don't
want to help
want
me move,
90-pound wrestlers showing up, challenging you to a fight.
throw them off the top of
that'd
the
be
building.
amazing.
If anyone wants to help me move, and by help I mean
Do
move
all the
for
work.
me,
Do it.
let me know.
And you have a truck.
Eddie, there's an important
I'll even
question.
rent the U-Haul.
Eddie
Would
stopped
you
being
take-
useful to me when he got rid of his truck.
Having a truck is just a bad
I suppose
deal.
it's good I live in Houston then.
I want a truck. You're saying having a truck is bad?
Yeah,
Why?
because you get called to
The
go do errands
I
for people.
gotcha.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. Everybody in my father-in-law wanted to borrow my truck all the time. Thankfully, he's now buying his own. So that's good.
Well, you do have the F950. I mean, you
Hey,
can get through anything.
I'm not
Especially
going
in Houston
to
with
say
floods.
that, the zoo doesn't call me from time to time to move one of the rhinoceroses around. I mean, that's what happens, but,
Just getting out of your truck and watching the mirrors close because they know they had to build that into it, otherwise no one could park next to you, is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen.
Well, I should say it's not automated. I do that because I know how much it sucks to get out of that truck and then have to dive underneath them. And I can just imagine some asshole that doesn't care about my truck and he's just going to hit it.
That would be me.
Yeah.
If you park next to a fat guy and you make it almost impossible for him to get in his car, he's going to ring you up.
No, I mean, and I do. I'm one of those guys. I'll usually park far away. I try not to be that guy in his truck that's an ass to everybody else.
That's cockeyed in the line, and you're over the line in the back.
I'm really careful about the parking. Mm-hmm.
Somebody did that to me at 7-Eleven the other day, and you get
a little hot.
I could barely get into my car, and I even bent my side view mirror bent up because I had to squeeze through, and so I opened my door, and the guy, I guess I looked at it and I was like, what the bleep? And I knew it was going to be almost impossible. And so I opened my door and it hit the side of his door. Mentioned a plastic door guard it hit. And the guy goes, hey, I know I did a shitty job of parking, but you didn't have to open your door that hard. And there's so many things in my mind that I wish I had said besides learn how to park your bleeping car.
You had a jerk store moment?
Oh, no, I don't care because the guy was a douche the way he parked. I mean, his wheels were inside the line and he was cockeyed, and it was a jacked up 4x4 pickup truck, like a monster. It was a F950.
Should have got out and
I did open my door harder than I normally would, but it hit a plastic door. The guy had green wheels on it, and it had camouflage all over it. And he was skinny. He was wearing an American flag muscle shirt, and he was really skinny. And so we just started screaming at each other at 7-Eleven.
Just spreading the love on America's holiday. I love it.
So yeah, I would get in a fight with you in a parking lot, Josh, if you did that to me.
I try not to be that guy. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm sure there's somebody that has an asshole Josh story out there.
But when you start you're yelling at someone by, hey, I know I screwed up, but
yeah, you can't do that.
then just forget everything before
That's like
the bud.
starting off calling somebody bud or chief.
No, chief is the worst.
I think pal. Pal is a bad one.
Pal?
Pal.
Yeah.
Hey, pal. Like nobody's ever
aggressive.
said, "Hey, pal," and been like, "Dude, let me open the door for you."
Yeah,
I got
pal is
that.
aggressive.
Yeah, pal's meaty.
What about friend? Hey, friend.
That's aggressive.
It's aggressive.
Yes.
Do you remember the guy on the board? And I know Carey does because he was part of it for a long time. That used to call everyone friend, like he would call me friend. I'm like, dude, no, we're not friends.
You gave him. You ain't my buddy, pal.
Dude,
I ain't your friend.
Dude is neither aggressive nor passive. Bro is the same way, but it's just kind of douchey.
Yeah.
Brother is outdated. Don't do that. Unless you're Hulk Hogan. I don't know what else is.
Brother.
Although I do have some people that I text friends with. And if you say something really nice, they'll be like, "Thanks, brother." And I think that's kind of sweet. Maybe.
You can do that.
I get
I
buddy.
use-
I
I
get
use
buddy
brother.
a lot.
If
for
you're
that.
if you're a close friend with someone and
call
they
him brother.
and you really appreciate something, I think you can say thanks, brother.
You can say that. That's okay.
Do you know the only person I don't call brother is my brother? Which is just weird.
I don't have a brother, so I can't do that.
Yeah, I couldn't speak to that. Yeah.
Eddie has a sister.
Correct.
I got a stepsister. No full.
got 4 brothers. I'm the 4th of 5.
Wow.
They kept trying for the girl.
Your
huh?
poor mother.
My parents had a third just to try for a girl, and they got it. Did you see the Gordon Hayward
Yes.
reveal video? That was great.
It was great until I saw some of the internet takes.
Right. That kind of hurt.
There was somebody that said
I didn't see
some
this.
gal, some feminist, she was like, he needs to go to counseling.
What happened? I missed this.
Oh,
So Gordon Hayward has these 2 cute little girls, and
Sure.
and his wife was doing a gender reveal for their next baby. And they put a bunch of balloons in a box, and they had the little girls open the box, and pink balloons started pouring out. And Gordon Hayward was just kind of like, "Oh,
It was the most
you're
real thing of
right."
all time. He was like, God damn it, I wanted a son.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was obvious he wanted a boy. I mean, he's
Sure.
an NBA basketball player. Of course, he wants a son.
Yep.
And so it was just kind of cute and funny, but he was obviously disappointed. So
That I don't remember ever having that conversation. Like all my friends have children, all of them older than mine. So I don't ever remember having a conversation with my buddies about like boys or girls. Like it just didn't. I don't remember that coming up a lot. In Texas, people that I don't know like will see me with 2 girls, and they're like, and I'll get it from women, not just men. Like, so you guys gonna try for that boy? No, I'm done. Shop's closed. Like, I don't care about the boy at all. Like, it would have been cool. I'd like to teach him baseball or whatever, but it does not matter enough for me to add another mouth to feed and more, like, have you had a 2-month-old? It sucks. Bob, it sucks. It's awful. Don't have any illusions about it. Go in realistic.
I prefer to live in a society where the child can decide if they want to be a man or a woman.
Oh,
yeah, you may still have a boy, but if you don't know, Josh.
I'm for gender neutral.
Hey, with
What
Layla,
kind of
we'll see.
balloons come out with that?
White.
Like gray.
They're white. They can be either or. They can be blue or pink.
Actually,
why'd it have to be white, Eddie?
They can be all
Racist.
colors.
They could be all
Just
colors.
rainbow
Yeah, you
balloons
don't
come
need to. You don't need to specify.
By the way, Josh,
with Layla, who knows? But Lainey is the girliest girl. Like Lainey this morning wore shorts and a shirt, and I put her in it, and she's like, "Why am I not wearing a dress today?" I'm like, "Just because we got to change it up from time to time, woman."
I'll say this: you make cute girls. I think
Indeed.
you're good stopping there because you had a boy, he'd probably be weird looking.
Yeah, and that's one of the funny things because all I ever hear, and it's not wrong, but it's lessening as she gets older, is that Lainey looks like me. And I literally had a woman tell me one time, she's like, I never thought you'd make a cute girl, Josh, but she's pretty cute. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really know how to explain that either. But, yeah, the boy would certainly come off weird for some reason or another.
Well, I guess that settles it.
I don't think the head would be
If you have another kid, it's a mistake. You just told the country.
This is not like we're still having the conversation. Believe me, that door is closed.
Oh, it's over.
It's not. It's not a male job. This is not one of those ones that could be repaired down the road. That door is windows closed.
Shut down.
So penis is gone.
What's that?
Penis is gone.
No, this was not my work. This was work on Tiffany. Like, and literally, it was all within the same time that Layla was born. We just closed the shop. So
you might be divorced if you continue down this road.
Yeah, TMI.
I'm just telling you.
We're just asking about it, though.
It's okay. Hey, you guys asked. I want to be open to our public. That want to know what's going on in my wife's body.
You of all people, I advise against that. They just devour you when you give personal information. I mean,
I know.
The third tattoo was almost crashed the website.
I'm telling you, we could do a reveal with with a calendar. I mean, I think the other 11 months should be Eddie doing various 80s rock band posts. But
it's a great idea.
I think it could work. I like it.
I haven't found enough 70s really just quality album art yet.
There's got to be a good Jethro Tull one or something. I mean,
Jethro Tull always seemed to have like demons and elves or something on his albums.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
And then you can't do maybe we could do like a Judas Priest, get you in some leather. I don't want to pay for this stuff though.
No problem. Set the photo shoot up here. We have a green screen to work with.
All right, I'm going to be a whore. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I want to let everybody know we're talking about Big 12 Media Days. We're all going to be down in Frisco for that. There's going to be lots of coverage. I know we've crapped on the people that are going to be there, but we're professionals. We'll find good stuff to write about. And then you've got OU's Local Media Day with Fan Appreciation Day coming up on the 22nd. So what I'm telling you now is there's never a better time. If you've heard people talk about Sooner Scoop, if you thought about signing up for Sooner Scoop, this is the time. Don't even mess around with a monthly. I mean, you can try if you want, but you need a whole year. So go sign up for Sooner Scoop. The season is starting. Fall camp is going to be getting underway in a couple of weeks. You're going to have practice tidbits you're going to be missing out on if you're not there with Eddie and Bob, myself. You're going to have post-practice videos. You got the barbecue coming up, which is always huge. There's not a better time of year to sign up for Sooner Scoop. And, we don't bombard you with a bunch of sponsors on this podcast. It's free. If you like what you hear on the podcast, you like what we talk about, I'm begging you, come give us a try at Soonerscoop.com. Sign up. Allows us to, bring you more and better features and like this podcast, reinvest in the site. We've even had some discussions about, I almost hate that I'm saying this, more podcasts coming up during the season.
You people want it. You want it.
I know everybody wants it. But the problem is it falls on me to produce it.
I'll produce it.
Will you?
I'm just trying to rape people's ears.
Rape? You do that quite well every week, it seems.
That's what we're here for.
So, yeah, we're looking forward to this season, looking forward to the Kyler Murray era beginning, even though no one will tell you on Monday that he is the starting quarterback. Should we play some type of a wager on that?
That he'll announce it?
No. That under no circumstance will anyone talk about Kyler Murray as a starting quarterback.
I don't know. Probably not. I don't know who would be there that would talk about it.
I mean, for Lincoln to even sit up there on the dais, he's got to keep himself from laughing.
Yeah.
When he says, looking forward to a quarterback battle coming up this fall between Kyler Murray and Austin Kendall.
Antonio Brown didn't go down to Allen High School to work with Marquise Brown and the backup at OU. Put it that way.
Yeah. So, yeah, but Hollywood Brown not being there, that's a little bit of an upset, I'd say.
I think that maybe I don't know. Maybe guys are being rewarded for perfect attendance at summer workouts or something. I don't know. I don't know how that would equate to being able to be a spokesman for the team.
These are the most important guys. These are the guys that have to develop as leaders. That's my theory.
Yeah.
In Lincoln's mind.
I can buy it.
Josh, any parting shots? Bob had to sneak away to do some radio duties.
I can't think of anything. I mean, like I said, this time next week, we may be talking about Jaden Davis as part of OU's class. It kind of depends on when we record, actually. But, I still think this is going to be a good month for Oklahoma. I think there's at least 2 or 3 more commitments before the end of the month.
Right now, give me the percentage chance you think Dax Hill winds up at barbecue.
I'm somewhere around like 60, 65%. I mean, I think he'll show up at the picnic for sure.
Think he'll have a burger or a hot dog?
I don't know. Dax strikes me as a burger guy. Hot dog seems kind of frivolous. He's a real deal. He's kind of a meat and potatoes kind of guy.
They go with ribs at this thing, too.
The question is, if they have the burgers, is Lincoln's bacon going to be available for topping?
I think next week we'll release the bacon recipe.
So we'll ask him on Monday?
I have it. I know it.
You do?
I do know
it. We should probably, hang on, before you do that, we should contact the company, get in some sponsorship with them, because we're about to do them a lot of sales, and they probably should scratch our back a little bit on that.
We could work on something for sure. I got it, though. I know it.
Interesting.
I like it.
This is just like getting in the Paul George party.
I know people that want people to know people.
All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. Appreciate everybody listening. And remember, go subscribe. Not a better time to do it than right now with fall camp getting underway, Big 12 Media Days. Literally just right around the corner. So thanks to Eddie Radosevich. Thanks to Bob Przybylo. Thanks to Josh McQuistion. And we'll be back again next week, probably on Wednesday again, right after Big 12 Media Days, and we all get back from that in Frisco. So thanks again. We'll see you guys next week right back here on the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com.
Podcasts from Soonerscoop.com.